You wouldn't shortchange yourself when it comes to, the MPA of the concrete that you need to put in. You're not going to try and cut corners by pulling rebar out. You're going to make sure that, you form it up in such a way there's not going to be any blowouts. And I think, as we develop a business, we need to have the same assessment tool on the fly like we would, doing foundations. We should actually have that assessment tool in place whilst we develop a business. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. Welcome to you if you're watching this on YouTube. Welcome. Today, got another steak and potatoes. I'm going to just try and draw some commonalities, but welcome to you if you're a general contractor. These episodes are usually geared towards a general contractor who is dealing with Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, but I'm sure if you're a framing contractor or you're a someone else that is in the building game and wanting to build a business, this information can help you as well move your business or scale up your business. So, like I said, welcome. 53 days till spring. I can't wait for that. I would like to see all this snow melt quick smart and get on with some sunshine, just saying. But anywho, we're about business today. So scaling up a business. Today I want to talk about what I would call critical foundation fundamentals. And as a carpenter by trade, having done, I'm now over 30 years in the building game. At one point I had 15 guys, across a couple of crews. So we did all kinds of work from framing and foundations to finishing and, exterior siding and soffits and things like that. And then I moved in, got my builder's license and was dealing with homeowners, which is how I become a franchised operator with Smithies. Something I often think about, and I sort of had this thought a little while ago, and I thought I just went, I should have a chat with the audience about this. And what I want to do, and particularly I think, as much as this is, when I start drawing comparisons between building foundations, let's say in Australia versus what you guys do in North America here, which I've worked on a couple of job sites and done a few foundations. We don't necessarily see as much, but the principle is much the same. And look, really what it comes down to is that whenever as builders we're developing properties and we're building homes with foundations, I want to talk about how that concrete foundations or foundations in general are very labor intensive. They cost the most usually as far as a build quantity within the project, and they are seen the least. They have the least aesthetic value, right? And yet they are the most important, probably up there in the top one or two as far as you got to get the foundations right, because if you don't, the house falls over. And so, I often would think about that as it relates to business development and scaling up a business and developing a strong business that stands the test of time and lasts. And so, I think as you sort of get into the world of construction, maybe you've been in it 5 minutes, maybe you've been in it 50 years, maybe you're in the middle somewhere like me, that principle actually never goes away. And so I think sometimes you'll move out of the hands-on practical side of being a carpenter or a foundation carpenter or framing carpenter, and you go, right, I'm going to go and get myself a builder's license, or I'm going to start doing renovations for Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. And you think just because you've got the practitioner skills, in other words, you've learned how to knock nails into wood and build walls, plumb and straight and all the rest of it, that you're guaranteed to make money. And so what I want to do is, I want to look at, what are some of the foundational principles of a business? And I don't think it's limited to this. I think there's a lot more that we can talk about. And certainly the points that I am going to make, you can go so much deeper than what we're going to be able to do in a 10 or 15 minute podcast. But I think, if this is just somewhere where you knock the lid off and you start to think about it in context and you go, okay, you wouldn't shortchange yourself when it comes to, the MPA of the concrete that you need to put in. You're not going to try and cut corners by pulling rebar out. You're going to make sure that, you form it up in such a way there's not going to be any blowouts. And I think, as we develop a business, we need to have the same assessment tool on the fly like we would, doing foundations or concrete. As we should actually have that assessment tool in place whilst we develop a business. So, I think everything I'm going to talk about now, as far as practical business skills, let's say, or components of your business, they're as important to keep all together and organized and not to be cutting corners as you would if you were working on a foundation doing actual concrete pouring or stealing up or, whatever. And so I think the first thing that comes to mind when I'm talking about wanting to build a strong foundation to allow me to scale the business up or build the business, if you like, is your bookkeeping, your accounting, and your finances. And, a lot of this stuff overlaps because, I often say that if you want to scale faster, you need to learn to sell better. And part of that is you've got to know your numbers. The other part of that is you've got to then mark up appropriately, make sure that you're obviously covering your cost and you're making an appropriate profit margin, always keeping in mind that you need to be able to create what we call operational capital that you can then reinvest in the business after the fact. Otherwise, you're never going to develop a business. And more often than not, we get, as carpenters, we get caught on the tools forever because nobody can do it as good as me. And that's horse shit. And that might be your takeaway for today. I don't know. But, I think when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting and finances, and what underpins everything I'm going to share today is that, businesses operate using very well-refined and organized systems. And those systems are operated by great human beings. And, we could talk about recruitment and cultural development and the toxicity of some individuals that come into your business and you wish you never saw their face. Seriously, it's like, you might have everything else in order, but if you've got one person who is a bit of a player and doesn't play well with the other boys and girls and is poisonous, but you don't want to fire him because he actually does good work, you need to fire his ass. You need to get rid of that individual because he doesn't fit. And so, that's cultural development. What I'm starting out talking about is your bookkeeping and your finances. And I think, if you haven't done your books for 8 months and you've got, 1,000 unreconciled items, that's if you're using software. God help me, I don't know what else you're doing, but you've got to make sure that you've got those ducks in a row because you won't know what your markup percentage should be because you don't know what your numbers are. You need to work out what your fixed expenses are as a percentage of your revenue, and it needs to be in the zone that's an acceptable percentage. And so, I think there's so many things that if we don't identify some of our weaknesses and some of the things that might threaten our business, it's why I think I talked about on the last podcast that, only 50% of businesses survive after the 5-year mark. Other than that, the 50% will fail. They just won't be in the business. And so it's super important that, we make sure that we are ticking the boxes. Again, start thinking about it because I know what you're going to say, Max. I bloody well hate doing books and I hate accounting and I hate the financial aspect. I like making money. I just don't like to be the finance administrator, and I get that. The problem is if you don't put the rebar inside the foundation like you're supposed to, like the engineer says you have to, then that footing or that foundation will fail and then the house will fall over. And so, this is why when you start categorizing it or compartmentalizing it in that light, you wouldn't cut corners on a building site. So why are you doing it inside your business? And then you complain that your business is not developing and your business is not growing or your business is not making money or you can't recruit good talent or you're working with dickhead clients or whatever the case may be. Look, at the end of the day, everything that happens is your fault, good and bad. And when you assume the responsibility for the cock up, then you own the solution to remedy the situation that you're not enjoying, right? So, that whole side of it, we need to develop a good network of either, we need to outsource our bookkeeping perhaps. We certainly need to have a good accounting firm to go to or an accountant to go to at the end of the financial year to do our, tax reporting and things like that. Please pay attention to the financial part of your business. And then, of course, as we alluded before, you need to work out what your fixed expenses are, and about 25% of your revenue is about where your fixed expenses are. So if they're more than that, you're in trouble. You're not really selling jobs at the right price. So that maybe is a takeaway for you today. The other thing I'm chatting about as it relates to what I call a foundational fundamental is skills with people. Now, people are like kids. They are by far the greatest sacrifice that you will make as a human, as a parent. And I know because I've got 6 kids. But, it's all about, kids are the greatest sacrifice. They cost you the most, but there's nothing else that gives you the reward to be able to build a family in that way. So it's like this binary thing. It's literally good and bad. It has its good days and it has its bad days. And so when we're talking about how we develop a business, I've just said that we develop systems within our business and we recruit good humans to operate those systems. And so, if you don't have good humans in your business or you bring them into your business and you haven't systemized and they don't hang around, the challenge is not with the people, it's with your systems and with your business and the way you're thinking about your business. And so, but if you get that right, the flip side is you'll have a great business if you've got good systems and you're a good talent scout. And so it's never the people's fault. It's your fault as the business owner. And then we divert and we just pivot. Now we start talking about clients and we go, you know, you've got to understand qualification. It's okay for you to say to a client on an email, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we've considered your project, and at this point, we're not in a position to provide a bid for your renovation or your new home or whatever." Now, that might come from the fact that they're too demanding and they want it built next week. Or it might come from, you know, the fact that your gut's telling you, and you got to follow your intuition as well, that you don't want to work with those people. And so, you know, I've had and I've seen good clients and not so good clients. And so, you know, really it comes down, and it's not a perfect science, but it comes down to your ability to qualify and your ability to recruit. So those two things, qualifying clients and your ability to recruit good talent. And so that's the game we play. And if you do get that right, if you get that part of building a foundation right, and you make sure that all your formwork is solid and you're not going to get any blowouts, that can really reward you in the long term. But again, we've got to tie all these things together, and this is not an exhaustive list. There's a lot more that goes into this, and I definitely know that even the subjects that we might cover, there's going to be a lot more that you can understand about each of these subjects. And go a lot deeper than that. But these are just a few that I thought off the top of my head. So skills with people. So your ability to not only qualify, but, you know, for me, I sell franchises. And so when I'm talking general contractors like you, you don't trust me, you don't like me, you don't believe that my opportunity has got any kind of merit. So, and I understand that, and I understand the wall of distrust is up, and I've got to slowly but surely build rapport. I've got to be consistent. I've got to be efficient. I've got to know what I'm talking about, and I've got to be able to, what we'd say in the game, remove your reluctance to commit. So if you're a builder out there and you're dealing with clients and you're not closing deals, well, there's something broken within your process where you're not able to remove the reluctance to commit. And so, you know, I've got guys closing deals all the time, you know, I got guys closing jobs anywhere from, you know, a $50,000 kitchen to a $900,000 reno and beyond on new homes. So the whole program that we're talking about, it works the same way. But, you know, having the right people in your business. Now, sometimes, so just add another layer. So there's the people that you recruit, there's the clients that you qualify, and then there's the third-party businesses like bookkeepers and accountants. You need to make sure. I mean, 12 months ago, I fired the original accountant that I had in this town because it changed hands. The lady that I was dealing with, she sold out to this other gentleman, and he didn't run the show the way that I liked it run. Now, I'm just a client, but there wasn't the same chemistry there. I didn't like the fact that there was several people removed from that firm, and then the people that they reintroduced weren't doing and serving the way that I expected them to serve. And so what I had to do is go, that's not a fit for me. That frustrates me. That gets me sending emails after closing time that I don't want to have to deal with. And so I replaced that accountant. So that's the other thing. So you got those three things. You're talking about recruiting good talent to work within your business. You talk about qualifying clients that you want to work with, not that you have to work with. And don't get me started on the whole messaging and the sales process and everything like that to arrive at the point where you make the sale with the client and how we do that. And then, of course, you've got the third-party services that you might engage to be able to take care of some of these fundamentals that are within your business, like bookkeeping, like accounting. And so skills with people, you can see how important it is to be able to, I know there's a book that I read. I can't remember who it was by. It's called Skills with People. You know, it's a little tiny book. I can't remember the author's name, but it was a revelation to me because it helped me understand. And I think a lot of that is around empathy. And I think, kind, candor, open, honest, transparent type, conversation is super important. So, I have that a lot. I've got, telecommunications companies ringing me. I just had a company from Vancouver Island ring me about advertising in his magazine. And, I think people enjoy the fact that I'm from the get-go. There's a thing that I like to I guess implement across my relationships, and that is firmness with courtesy. I always remain professional. I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm not going to have the tail wag the dog. But at the end of the day, I'm going to maintain a level of professionalism. And people used to say to me, "Well, that's harsh but fair." I don't know if that falls into exactly what I'm talking about, but really that's what it comes down to. I think people respect you. And if your time is as valuable as what you say it is, you can't afford to be buttering up all these kinds of people, because as your business grows, you're going to find you're too busy to get to everyone. And if you have trouble saying no, then your life is going to be miserable, because you are now letting the tail wag the dog. You're not enjoying the life that you want to enjoy. And so that's because you don't set boundaries and you don't manage expectations. And so there's another little takeaway for you. I think that could be, I could start talking about relationships and be Dr. Phil. No, I'm kidding. I won't go there. I don't want to go there. So the next thing I want to chat about real quick is a foundational or a foundation fundamental is your ability to, your skills around estimating and quoting. I think a lot of people say to me, and I've quoted jobs from, a $5,000 fence to a $1.1 million townhouse development. So I've done it. I've kind of done a fairly large cross section of work. And, actually there was one guy when I was an apprentice, and I can't remember his name, but he told me he was bragging about, jobs that he's quoting and shit like that. And, one of these jobs might have been, at the time, might have been 500,000 or 600,000, which in that, day and age, because that's almost probably 25 years ago or more. That was quite a significant or quite a large project. And I said to him, how do you come up with a quote for such a large project? And he said this to me, I build it in my head. And that was the revelation. I'm like, well, that makes sense. I can do. Now, if you're an accountant who's moved into a general contractor and you don't know how to build shit, then you're gonna have some trouble. So you might need to find yourself a bit of an estimator who's got the chops and the experience and can understand construction methods and things like that. But I think that comes down to it. So if you, I did a basics in estimating course. There's a little note. You might need to go away and do that if you're feeling like your vulnerability is in the area of estimating. And what they said to us at the beginning of this course was that profit is a natural byproduct of good estimating. So I think you need to be very organized. You cannot be flippant. Now, we work a two-stage sales process where we're going to chat with clients at initial meet and greet, and then we're going to talk to them about the basic scope, and then we're going to throw them a bit of an estimate or a price range. I like to have a 30 or 40% buffer between what I would think is a baseline and, what it might be, just to see if these clients are worthy to talk to. Because if they say to me, Max, I want this bathroom renovated for $8,000, I can't get out of there fast enough, right? But so what happens is that what we do is we still go back into our estimating software, even if we are only doing an estimate price range, and we still go and build a bunch of categories in order of construction, and then we build line items, and inside those line items there's recipes, and there's all kinds of ways that we can actually come up with what we think is, we're probably 80 to 90% sure where we've got a rough price range that we can present, just for qualification purposes. Now, it's always subject to a list of things, because it's all about moving from, being two worlds apart. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see my hand gestures, but there's you and the client, and you're this far apart. And then as time goes on, you want to be able to move closer together, and you want to be able to come to that point, literally point, where you do a deal. And so, what we're doing is through good estimating and quoting practices, we're able to take the clients on a journey. We give them a selection sheet because we've done a bit of a rough outline of, what we need, but we make sure we're not quoting for free. We offer a quantity takeoff service, and to do that, we've got to liaise with all of our suppliers and our subcontractors and work out exact details. And of course, we need the input from the clients with, anything that's got aesthetic value. They need to tell us what make, what model, what style, what color. We don't make allowances or anything like that. We nail down everything that we can before we go into construction, making it clear that we can make changes throughout the construction process off the back of change orders. We can do that. But ultimately, our estimating and quoting skills, our organizational capabilities, as we put that price together, is where the magic happens. But then once you go and make that time to present the proposal, and we never send quotes via email, because it's the most important and the most critical part of the process, is to be able to sit down with the clients with the proposal. It's not going to be a price reveal. You've already talked about some of the dynamics within the job and the price range and things like that. And then we're going to flip through all of the value. We're going to explain the detail that goes in it, the micro detail that goes into it. And when clients start seeing, a 10 and 12 page specification documents with photos included and explanations and things like that, and we actually finish within their bracketed price range indication that they gave us, more often than not, your ability, your skill with people is going to really help you close more deals at a higher profit margin rate than probably what you're ever used to. But you've got to make sure that foundation fundamental as it relates to skills with people is at its best. And you don't stop learning. Just because you've had a win here and there and you look like you've got the chops and things are working out, do not ever rest on your laurels. There's always room for improvement. Be constantly on the improve, looking at ways to improve. Reading, self-development is going to have a massive impact on your ability to scale up business right across the board, not just skills with people. Probably the last thing that we need to make sure that we've got right in this day and age, and I think I talked about this somewhere along the line, is a foundation fundamental would be in your marketing and your messaging that goes with the marketing. I've seen all kinds of general contractors, and I've talked about, I can jump onto Instagram right now and go through the bios on just about every construction operator, and they'll tell you that they do quality work and provide a great service. So they're just a bunch of trees in a forest. What you got to do is stand out and not just be another tree in the forest. So yes, you've got to do marketing. Yes, you've got to know where to go with it. And yes, you've got to know where you're gonna, which markets or which audiences you're trying to sell to or market to. But then you've got to have your messaging right as well. So the standard rhetoric is we do quality work and we've got a great service and we've been around for 5,000 years. Like all of that is just standard construction rhetoric, and it's BS because it doesn't inspire the client. It doesn't move the client. The client's not excited by it. And if you're just doing pictures, unless they're good before and after shots, and I rate before and after shots. I love the side by side, that this is what it looked like before and this is what it looked like. I think clients enjoy that still shot. They really get educated, they get excited, and they get inspired. And they're like, you know what? If that's what work they do, I'll keep them in mind. That's probably what it's going to count, at least if they don't pick the phone up and want to, a meeting with you straight away. But you've got to make sure that, and look, this guy I had on the phone this morning, he's trying to sell me that he's got this magazine and it's 15 or 20 pages long and it goes to, affluent neighborhoods and things like that. And I'm hearing it, and he's got a digital arm which works in concert with. And so I'm going to consider it and see if our digital department can work in, concert with this print media campaign. So I'm not downplaying, like we've considered billboards, we've done radio before, we've done newspaper ads, we've done flyers, like we've done some of that old school stuff. We just find that we get better value for money or return on investment from digital. And the main reason for that is I think it's fairly affordable. And the other main reason is we can track the data. We can see how people respond to certain advertising campaigns. We can build audiences, we can retarget. And so, and that's all cute as well, but you've got to make sure the messaging is right. So here's what we do. And this could be a good takeaway. As much as we're in the construction business and we offer renovation and construction services and custom home builds, the business that we're actually in is providing peace of mind and security and satisfaction to our client base. And so, another layer to really facilitate that is we do fixed price contracts, we do a list of specifications and inclusions, and we offer either a project duration to help people consider, and certainly when we go to contract, we give them a deadline or a completion date. And so there's a lot of things that build, that we put together to be able to message around peace of mind and security and satisfaction. Oh, and by the way, we do renovations or we do new homes or whatever. But that's a given. That's already just part. It's in the background. It's already, flashing. It's part of our visual presentation, if you like. But really the messaging that goes into it, which is not a subliminal, but it's like, okay, if people like the video where the drone is hovering over a new frame or a new deck or whatever the case may be, what they're going to want to look at is what they're going to go is, okay, so how are Smith & Sons any different from, Joe Blow truck and ladder guy down the road? And so that's where some of the, whether there's graphics on the screen or whether the copy is written in such a way that we explain, hey, to give you peace of mind, security and satisfaction, we offer fixed price contracts, list of specifications and inclusions, and a completion date. And they're like, okay, what we're doing now is we're demonstrating value. We're not just trying to close people that we're good guys and you should go with us because we're great builders. That's not enough. It's no good. And so, I think marketing, you've got to do it differently or you've got to do it more. If you turn off marketing to save money, you're out of your mind. If you are relying on referral business, I think one of the last episodes was, referrals are a bullshit marketing method or something. And then they're just the cherry on the top. We've got referrals all over the place. There's one guy down in Kelowna. He regularly, once a month probably goes to contract with a referred client. He asks for, his demand on us at corporate office is the least as far as lead gen, because he's just got so much business that just keeps coming to him, to the point where it almost makes our advertising redundant, because the lead gen, he just produces a lot of interest because he does such good work. So he's got into the vein of gold, and now he's able to maintain his own momentum. Now, with the marketing that he's doing is very traditional. It's very do a good job, have good people skills, keep your poop in a group, both business from a business standpoint and from a construction standpoint. And people get confidence in actually referring you, and that's kind of where it's at. So, but if any point he says, Max, I've got nothing 3 or 4 months down the track, can you feed me some leads? More often than not, we're able to facilitate. So he's got best of both worlds. He's out there slaying it, and he's really got some really good backup coming through, some good referral business. But if he ever needs it, then we're there to be able to sort of sling something his way, and I know that he can make it work. So a couple of foundation fundamentals we chatted about today: bookkeeping, accounting, finances, they're a biggie. Skills with people are a biggie, whether it comes down to your ability to recruit good talent, your ability to qualify clients, and your relationships that you build, your network with third parties to be able to organize, some services outside of what you want to do in-house. Estimating and quoting. Remember, profit is a natural byproduct of good estimating. So if the better you are, the more organized you are at estimating, the more profit you should produce. So long as your delivery method, you could be a great estimator and then you go out there and you hack the construction and delivery process. Well, okay, you've got good profit built into the job, but you go and screw it up on site. Well, that's something else that you might need to look at and refine and create some systems therein. And then, of course, we've just talked about marketing and message. So know where you should be marketing that really reaches your preferred client profile or your client avatar, and then really pay attention to the value that you present as a builder. And please get away from the I'm a great guy, quality service, good product, reliable, blah, blah, blah. They are important factors, and they are foundation stones in their own. They are what I would call reasonable service. That is the bare minimum expectation of clients, that you are those, but they don't present much more value, because that means every other tree in the forest is offering what you're offering. What are you doing different within your marketing? So they are my critical foundation fundamentals. Remember, they're labor intensive, just like concrete foundations are. They cost the most. Usually they're the most time consuming, or they do take, they are a contributor on your P&L, and they are seen the least, because nobody really pats you on the back for great estimating, good people skills, or great bookkeeping and finances. But it's going to be what you need to be able to build a business. But above all else, it's the most critical component to you to be able to develop a business, because if you get the foundation wrong, the building will fall down. It will not stand the test of time. So we're all construction, we're all builders, we're all in this thing to do a good job and make sure it's still there in 10 and 20 and 30 years for the next generation to see if that's what it's all about. And so, not just the structures that we put together, but also the businesses that we build should be there for the next generation. And so they're going to stand on our shoulders. So guys and girls, that's it for another episode. Text me on 250-241-8866. You can email me if you wish, and I'll come back to you as promptly as I can on max@businessforbuilders.ca. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, it'd be great. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to jot those in below, and we'll return serve on those as well. But certainly like and subscribe and share it if you think you know someone who might enjoy these episodes. So have a great day. Go and build a solid kick-ass business, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.